I am Little League.
I am Little League!
We are Little League.
I am Little League.
僕らは少年野球団
I am Little League.
Sportsmanship, teamwork, character. Little League, big dreams.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lance Van Auken. I am the Vice President here at Little League International and Executive Director of the new World of Little League. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today on this very special day. As you can see, the museum is coming along very nicely. And for that, we have special thanks for Cambridge 7 Associates, Cortina Productions, Design and Production Incorporated for all the help that they've given us over the last several months in getting to this point. We do hope the members of the media that are here today take time after the news conference to wander through the museum and see some of the changes. Many more are coming up, and we'll have some more announcements in May. And now to make today's special announcement, I'd like to introduce the President and Chief Executive Officer of Little League Baseball and Softball, Mr. Steve Keener.
Thank you, Lance. First, thank you all who are here in person attending, but I would also like to extend greetings and thanks to those who have elected to join us watching live online. So good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are, but we're happy to have you with us. Lance mentioned this, I guess by way of a little bit of background. About 2 years ago, we made a decision that in 2014, the 75th anniversary of the Little League program would be celebrated, and we'd known for a couple of years that the museum, which opened in 1982, was becoming a bit antiquated, and many of the exhibits that were in the museum, the technology used in the late 70s, early 80s to build them didn't even exist anymore, and we were constantly putting Band-Aids on things to try to keep them functional. Fortunately, our board of directors recognized this and were agreeable to really taking a rather large step for us and essentially authorizing or approving a complete internal renovation of this museum. And as you can see from what you've seen so far, we're probably 85 or 90% of the way completed with it, and it will be a spectacular showcase for the Little League program when it's fully completed, and we anticipate opening to the public sometime in mid-June, and I think we're on target for that. But it's an exciting new venture for us, one that's really going to help us showcase the importance of the local Little League program, which is played in, as you know, 80 or 90 countries around the world and by millions and millions of children. So with that said, we probably, I think many of you are aware that in the late 1990s, we made a decision to expand the Little League World Series from 8 teams to 16 teams. And at that same time, I had actually gotten to know family members of our founder, Carl Stotz. And we started talking, and we felt very strongly that in that expansion, that we should put some type of permanent acknowledgement and recognition of Carl Stotz as the founder of the program at the site of the Little League World Series. As many of you know, we have a beautiful sculpture down by Volunteer Stadium, which will be there for many, many years to come, to really show the world, about this young man who started the Little League program in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And in that time, I've gotten to know Karen Stotz Myers, and I don't know Manya Lee as well, Karen's sister, but Carl's daughters. And we've had conversations over the years, and I think we've taken some significant steps over those years to really pay appropriate tribute to the founder of the Little League program. Well, when this museum project was fully approved and we were going forward with it, we talked with Karen a little bit more about this, and Karen said, I think it's time that my father's collection of Little League memorabilia, or at least a good portion of it, from those early years of the founding of the program, this would be the right place for them to be displayed, to be shared with the world. And so what we're here today to announce is that with the generosity and friendship of Karen Stotts Myers and her husband Jim, who's in the back, he said he was leaving because there wasn't any food. Kidding, Jim. And Manya Lee, Karen's sister, between the two of them, they have provided us with, I think, about, correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, but I think we have about 17 one-of-a-kind items that Carl kept for many years and then passed down to Karen and Manya Lee. And we actually have two of them on display here today for this purpose. The first is the very first home plate used at a Little League field, used in that Little League game, and Carl actually carved that himself out of a piece of rubber. And when this display is complete, you'll see the actual knife that he used to carve the home plate. And so that's the very first Little League baseball home plate ever used in a Little League game. And then a little more to my left is first a base that was made, and Carl made that himself. He stuffed it and sewed it, and that was used on the field for the first game in 1939. So we're delighted that the Stotts family feels that the new world of Little League should be a home for some possessions of their fathers that mean a great deal to them, that they would entrust us with having them to share with the world. We couldn't be happier to do that. It's really an historic moment for our program to have these meaningful items from the founder of the Little League program to be shown with people who have great interest in the Little League program. So with that said, I would like to ask Karen Myers to come up and say a few words, and then when Karen's finished, certainly be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
He only wants a few words. I guess he needs to know me a little better. Can you hear me? Okay. First of all, my thanks go to Steve and Lance for their leadership, their knowledge, and their willingness to promote and defend the historical fact that Carl E. Stutz was the founder of Little League Baseball. Dad and Mother worked selflessly together to make it possible for the boys to have a chance to play. In the 1954 official encyclopedia of Little League Baseball, it says that our mother raised Little League with her daughters. How true that is. My playground was a Little League field. Evenings and Saturdays were spent there all spring and summer. Seeing the home plate, the base, part of the artifacts that are going to be displayed there reminds me how much Little League really was and still is a family affair. Dad cut the home plate from a scrap of rubber that he found in his father's basement. Laura Bell Guerin, who was my dad's sister, actually made the bases out of canvas duck that my father got. They're stuffed with Excelsior that came from the local pharmacy store. Most people don't know what that is anymore, but there is a sample of it here. On occasion, my mother kept score. She also substituted as a manager for the Lycoming Dairy team when Dad's business took him out of the area. He worked for Comfair Bottling at that time. There was no obstacle that my parents could not overcome. And in those early years, they did it together. It is with great pride that I call them my parents and my mentors. Their integrity has shaped my life. My sister Manya Lee and I are happy that the loan of these articles will enable many to enjoy the Little League history that began 75 years ago in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And thank you for your attention.
Karen, thank you. Thank you, Karen. Obviously, very meaningful day for everyone at Little League International, and I think from Karen's remarks, obviously a very meaningful day to Karen and her sister. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I'm sure if you have any for Karen, she'll be happy to answer as well. No questions. Mm-hmm.
How important was this step today getting the long-term
I'm not sure if everyone could hear your question, Gennaro. I'll try to paraphrase it and repeat it, but you're asking, I believe, is how important is today with respect to what the long-term history has been between Carl Stotz, the founder of the program, and Little League Baseball over the years. It's very important. It's certainly well documented that many, many years ago, back in the probably mid-50s, it started. There was a great deal of rancor between Mr. Stotz and Little League Baseball Incorporated, and that led to a long period of time where there was not much communication between the two parties, and it just simmered for a long time, but became very, very clear to us that Carl is indeed the sole founder of the program. And when we started, as I mentioned earlier, when we were thinking about the expansion of the World Series, that we reached out to the Stotz family and indicated to them that we think it's time we try to resolve this and put some of the bitterness behind us, and said that the one way we can make a demonstration of our sincerity in that is to show you how we would like to acknowledge your father as the founder. And Karen and Jim, I can't downplay Jim's role in this. They're a team. They were very receptive to that, and we had a lot of good conversations, and that led, I believe, to us taking that first step and acknowledging Carl's founding of the program at the World Series location. And then as over the years, as we've gotten to know them better and developed, I think, a very nice friendship in addition to the relationship that we have, when it was time to do this museum, it was actually Karen who brought it up in a discussion with us, and we said we'd love to do this, but it has to be because you want to do it. And she said, we think it's time that we do this, and so we couldn't be happier. I hope, Karen, that accurately reflects a quick history of. Karen would love to add a few thoughts to that as well. Okay.
Because you know I might add a few things. My mother was actually at that meeting that Steve came to visit with us. So my mother agreed to allow the Masonic organization to erect or purchase for Little League Incorporated the statue that is located below Volunteer Stadium. And at that time, they also erected the scoreboard for the Volunteer Stadium. I think that's what I'll say. I had something else, but I forgot it because I didn't interrupt him.
That's right. No, Karen's absolutely right, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that Mrs. Stotz was involved in those initial discussions, but that's an important part of it, because I can't speak for Karen and Manya Lee, but I think it was important to them that their mother be satisfied with all of this as well. So. Lou, I might add to that your question is this the culmination of a healing process? I don't know if you ever fully heal from something that has lasted so long. What I would say is that we have a terrific relationship today with the Stotz family. Obviously, demonstrated by Karen and Manya Lee's willingness to allow some very valuable, precious memories of theirs to be loaned to us to share with the world. So I think it's a continuation of the of the process. Karen and Jim have been great supporters of the Little League program for the last 15 years or however many it's been that we've been working together and having these discussions. So, it's tough because Karen, when the bitterness ensued back in the early 50s, they were just little kids. They saw it affect their mom and dad, and that's a tough thing to have to overcome. So I think we're making a lot of progress. It's a great day today. I wouldn't want that to be the emphasis of what we're doing today, but I'm trying to help Karen out because I don't know if you can ever fully say that you're healed from that, but certainly have come a long way.
Well, it definitely affected our lives.
Yeah.
It affected our families' lives, but boys are still playing ball.
And girls.
But my dad's daughters did not play Little League.
There you go.
It was started for his nephews.
Yes.
I have a question for Karen. We see a couple of the artifacts that you donated, loaned to the museum. But can you tell us a little bit about the other artifacts and why they were chosen? There's just a few of them, right? Out of all the hundreds of things that your family has collected over the years. What is the story that you're trying to tell with these few artifacts?
Oh, okay. The story I'm trying to tell is, there is no story I'm trying to tell. That is the responsibility of Lance and Steve to tell why the things are important. I can tell you the history of what happened with them, and we made reference to the pocket money. My father won that in a foot race with the Pennsylvania Railroad, and he used that to cut the knife. I think that the importance of having these things indicate the great care which he took in the founding of Little League. The rules, the saving of everything that pertained to Little League. I mean, he had it. He kept it. The first drawing that was done of what I call the patch, or I guess I don't call it the patch, I think we call it the trademark, the Keystone. I know how he went about designing that and why it was important. When I say about Steve and Lance having knowledge, it's because I tell them sometimes what the knowledge is. I think the world needs to know. This wasn't some rich man who just decided that they were going to do something. This was actually at the time an unemployed young man who had a little thought.
I can share with you, in addition to the two items that are displayed here, I mentioned, and Karen did as well, the knife that was used to carve. Let me just run down through them very quickly just to give you a sense of some of the things that will be on display here when the full exhibit is prepared. There'll be a catcher's mask from the first Little League season, and the receipt that he kept when it was purchased. There will be a bat from that first year. There will be a collection can from the first year of Little League that was once owned by Monya Lee, that they used to take the collection at the games. We have the original pitcher's plate. The original the team's patches that they wore on their uniforms in that first year will be part of this. There will be a pencil drawing of the very first Little League Keystone logo that was developed. We have various receipts from the first 2 years of the program. When the first Little League board meeting Little League Board of Directors was put together, we have the minutes from those meetings that will be on display. First Little League Constitution, and then interestingly, there'll be sponsor contracts from the 1940 season, which were for Lycoming Dairy, Lundy Lumber, Richardson Buick, and Stein Service. There will be a uniform from the 1939 season, and 3 uniforms from the 1940 season. So I mean, it's going to be a nice collection of memorabilia that will tell the story of the founding, and I think emphasize all the things that Karen's just told you. So
Say it much more succinctly than I did.
that's okay. Any other questions, Todd?
You mentioned the term
Well, the term, and maybe Lance can expand on that. Loan is really everything in the museum is loaned to us that is exhibited that we don't own. And whether it's most of the loans are executed with an agreement that means that if any time Karen and Manya Lee would like to have these items back, they would be able to have them back in their possession. And that's pretty typical with just about everything that we have that you will see. So. If nothing else, again, thank you all for coming. I'm going to turn it back over to Lance here, who may have some final thoughts to share with you. And I think you also want to invite everybody to take a walk around. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Steve. Just to let everybody know here in the room and that might be watching on the internet right now, our public opening of the museum will be on Saturday, June 15th. So that's the first time the general public will have a chance to come here and come through the museum. For those that are here right now, we would invite you to kind of, like I said, wander around and see some of the things. Other than these things, there are really no artifacts in the museum, but we have about 90% of the graphics up right now. So enjoy your day, and thanks very much for taking part.